two routes to take our web design course. You could either take the summer camp, which is, as Savin mentioned, it's a 3 hours per day, Monday to Friday, or you could take the web design level course where we have 3 levels, and that would be an hour a day, Monday to Friday. Okay, a little about our virtual summer camps. Okay, so as you see, there's a perfect balance between coding and off-screen time. Okay, so 2 hours of coding, and in between the time for the students to communicate with each other, get a social interaction. We do have a lot of stretching exercises as well as some fun activities during our long break. So that's a perfect balance there. Okay, and this is about what we would be covering up during our virtual camp. So our virtual camp basically is level 1 plus level 2. And the students would be learning about the fundamentals of HTML. So if they have not done any kind of coding before, this is a perfect level to start with. And we would go on to learning the basics of CSS, that is cascading style sheets. So they would, at the end of the session, they would have gained enough of knowledge to design their own web page, which they can share with their friends and families. So as I said, it's a starting point. There's no prerequisite here. We're spending 15 hours. That's 3 hours a day for an entire week. Okay, this is just a sample as to what the schedule would look like. Okay, so you have some coding along with the breaks in between. Okay, we do have, as Servin mentioned, we do have the dates posted on our website as well as other platforms like Eventbrite and Activity Hero. But this is just, a glimpse of when, we do have these camps offered. So you can opt for the 9 to 12 or the 1 to 4 p.m.
For teenagers?
Okay, this is, we go on to the next route wherein, say your child can spend around an hour a day, then we would go on to our web design course with the levels. Okay, so during these 3 levels, we're going to talk about HTML5. We would teach them about Cascading Style Sheet 3, as well as JavaScript to make their websites interactive. So if a student has taken the camp, they can jump directly to level 3, where they would talk about intermediate CSS and learning JavaScript, the basics of JavaScript. So this is our level 1. In level 1, we are introducing the students to web design, and the focus is mainly on the fundamentals of HTML, where we're talking about what are the essential tags, how do you add headings, paragraphs, lists, tables, and images. And it prepares them for level 2. The prerequisite is none. And, at the conclusion, they can make their own web page. We did have a session last week, and we've had really nice projects coming about. Okay, this is just a sample of how the level 1 would flow. So each day is planned. We start off with an introduction or a recap of what was done the day before, dive into a new topic, and then finally we have a recap. And while we're doing this, we do have a lot of student activities as well as challenges, so they can apply what they're learning. And Zoom being a perfect platform, the students are able to share and give a comment on each other's work. Okay, this is our level 2, where we're talking about intermediate HTML. So we're diving further into HTML and getting introduced to CSS. Okay, so for the prerequisite for level 2, because level 1 lays the foundation for a building, so the prerequisite would be level 1. And in level 2, we are going to go further into, teaching the students how to make links and stress on the fact that now that they have the structure in place, they would be styling with it. And we talk about 3 methods: the inline, the internal, and external styling sheets. Okay, and at the conclusion of this, because they've learned how to link their pages, they would be able to use and make a multi-page website. This is a sample of the flow.
Their website.
Oh, no, you don't want to do that.
Yes, any questions? Okay.
No.
Okay, thank you. So, but we do have, you can post your question on the chat, and we would answer them at the end.
So Nita, there is two questions about, somebody being 11 years old and another person being 15 years old. No prerequisites in coding whatsoever, and the best recommendation between Python, Web Design, and Scratch. I think for an 11 years old with no prerequisite to coding, I think Web Design is an awesome opportunity, because it's not only about the coding and the technical aspect, but also about designing and trying to express yourself.
Yes, and again, the Web Design is for the age group of 11 to 15. Okay, and this is our final level, where we are diving into JavaScript as well. So at the end of it, they would learn how to make their own quiz, which they can post on their website. And we would dive into a few more topics about CSS, like inheritance, IDs, and classes. And their final project, the students would create their own interactive website, usually at all the levels, and at the end of the camp as well. The final day is usually when you have a showcase wherein the students get an opportunity to showcase their work, and it's actually a very personal satisfaction there to see what they have achieved during that 1 week or 3 weeks. These are again the dates. And we do have, if you want to try out our sessions, we do have an introduction class, which is in 1 hour class, usually held on the weekends. So you can, check out our postings on that. And to conclude, I would just like to show you a student project. Okay, this was done by a student from my last week's class. So he took on the topic of coronavirus. So along with the layout, which he learned in HTML, he's added lists, he's added some styling, and then they learned how to put in images. As well as we've introduced a new thing in this, wherein we talk about adding media as well. So he was able to embed a video. And further on, so we had, he could introduce animated GIFs as well. And then we talked about links, wherein if you wanted, you could go to an external website. Okay, so that concludes the session for web design. So if you do have any questions, please post them in the chat and we would answer them. Thank you.